Welcome everybody to our next play in the Shelter in Place Festival. Our next play is called Stay With Me. It is written by Lorraine Midanik. It is starring CJ Critt, Lisa Fairchild, Ashton Lewis, and this was directed by Kate McGehee. Enjoy.
Stay With Me by Lorraine Midanik. Characters: Susan, woman 55 to 65, fast-moving, frenetic. Maureen, woman 55 to 65, slow-moving, sardonic. Offstage voices number 1 and number 2, man any age. Setting: time. A very small, dark bedroom with no windows. There is one small bed barely able to fit 2 people with 2 nightstands, table lamps on both nightstands. On Maureen's nightstand, there is also a clock and telephone. There are 2 doors. One leads to the bathroom, the other to a hallway. March 2020 morning. Dim lights up on Maureen and Susan in bed asleep. Their clothes and shoes are strewn throughout the small room. There is a large knitting bag with brightly colored yarn in the center of the room. Throughout the play, Maureen and Susan either trip on it or kick it around the room as they move. Susan turns in bed to face Maureen. Maureen puts her arm around Susan. Susan opens her eyes, sees Maureen, sits straight up in shock.
What's going on here?
Go back to sleep.
Who the hell are you?
Maureen, you're a one-night stand.
Oh, no. Oh, God, my head is killing me.
You drank a lot last night.
How much?
I lost track after a while. You insisted each Mai Tai have 5 cherries. By the way, nice design with the stems.
My husband used to make them for me before we divorced.
Oh, I heard all about Eddie. After you called him, something about what an idiot he was for taking you for granted.
Susan turns on dim light on her nightstand and stumbles out of bed, wrapping a blanket around herself. She sees the clock on Maureen's nightstand.
9:30 at night?
A.M.
I need to get out of here. My friends will be worried.
Oh, you called them too.
Why is it so dark in here? Open a curtain or something.
Maureen turns on her lamp, dim light.
Yeah, better? Maybe we could talk or have breakfast.
Susan searches for her clothes and puts them on as she speaks.
I'm not hungry. What happened last night?
Just my luck. You don't remember.
Did something go on between you and me? You know, sexually?
I met you at the bar. You were with your friends. You remember that, right?
You seemed harmless at the time.
Seemed.
You were from Cleveland.
I live in San Francisco now.
Some kind of mechanic.
I'm an Uber driver. You used to work for some cosmetics place, right?
Sephora. I did faces. I mean, I made people up. I applied makeup to people's faces to make them look good.
Oh, what happened? Did you give someone a face they didn't like?
I left because of my supervisor, okay? In fact, you remind me of him.
Meaning?
An asshole who would never leave me alone.
Oh.
That came out wrong.
Never been with a woman before, have you?
That is none of your business. Where the hell is my shoe?
That's what I thought.
It was a mistake. This whole thing. A momentary moment of weakness. You took advantage of me.
Here's your other shoe.
Maureen tosses shoe to Susan a little too hard. Susan misses it. Maureen turns off her lamp and tries to go back to sleep. Susan leans over to Maureen.
Look, I'm sorry. You seem like a very nice person. I'm really uncomfortable. I don't have one-night stands. I don't have any stands. I was married for 35 years and then I wasn't. Hell, I don't know how to meet anyone, much less a lesbian.
What happened to your marriage?
Why is that important?
Well, what the fuck happened?
I thought once the kids grow up, we'd be happy. I mean, I actually think Eddie was content, but I wasn't. I was such a cliche. Spent my entire life taking care of everybody else. When I finally asked myself, am I happy? The answer was,
yeah, you didn't know who you were.
Trouble is, I still don't know what makes me happy. Anyway, 2 weeks after our 35th wedding anniversary, I told Eddie I wanted a divorce.
You sprang that on him all at once?
And we could still be friends.
Oh, now, is that really true, or is that just a line? Because I'm never sure.
We are friends. We still live together. I mean, sort of. We couldn't afford to sell the house, so we remodeled it. It's a duplex now. He's even dating someone. Her name is Nancy, I think. I really like her. But every time he goes back to his side of the house, I think, thank God we are not still living together. Are we okay now? Can I go without feeling guilty?
No problem.
I'm Susan, by the way.
Have a wonderful life, Susie Q.
Susan gathers the rest of her clothes and turns off her lamp. She almost walks out the door and then has second thoughts. Susan puts on lamp again.
Oh, Jesus.
You just lost your partner recently. That's what you said last night. It's coming back to me now.
Yeah. My wife died a year ago. We were together 26 years. Carol made me promise not to keep mourning her, that I'd go out and have fun.
And?
I play the clarinet. I watch Netflix.
That's what you call going out and having fun? Carol would want more for you.
I knit a lot. I sometimes take my knitting to cafes. I get out.
I always wanted to learn how to knit. You can make such beautiful things.
Carol was my whole life. Can you even imagine loving anyone that much for so long? No offense.
It must be so hard, but you were so lucky to have found each other.
Oh. Listen, Susie Q, trust me, one encounter with a lesbian will not scar you for life. Now, just go on out there and find what makes you happy. I need to sleep.
Susan stares at Maureen and then turns out her lamp and starts to walk to door. Loud bell rings. Susan and Maureen both react. Maureen sits up in bed.
Is this thing on? Oh, good morning, passengers. This is your captain speaking. Happily, we have been experiencing smooth sailing since we left Hawaii last Monday, and we'll be making port in San Francisco by tomorrow afternoon.
Susan, mostly dressed, waves to Maureen and exits room quietly.
However, we have 21 confirmed cases of the coronavirus on board this ship and have decided to ask all passengers to shelter in their cabins and remain there until you hear otherwise. This virus is very contagious, and we want to make sure that no one else gets infected. In the meantime, ship personnel will be stationed on each level to make sure passengers remain in their cabins. Meals will be delivered on trays and eaten in your rooms.
This isn't my room. I would never choose an inner cabin. It doesn't even have a window. I need to get back to my room. We paid extra for a balcony. You don't understand.
In the meantime, please stay in your cabins and enjoy this precious time with your friends and family.
Loud bell rings, signaling end of announcement. Door opens and Susan is pushed back into room. Audience only sees gloves and uniform sleeves of a crew member.
Stay here.
Door is slammed in Susan's face.
Welcome back, Susie Q.
It's Susan. Hopefully I won't be here very long. I'm going to report that crew member. Oh, damn it. My phone is dead.
Let me guess, your charger?
Is in my room. Can I borrow yours?
No problem.
Maureen throws cord to Susan. Susan plugs it in and tries to plug in her phone.
What model iPhone do you have?
The latest one, a Samsung Galaxy.
Susan throws down the charger.
How can she not have an iPhone?
Well, since I can't seem to sleep with you around, I am taking a shower.
By all means.
Maureen exits through bathroom door. Susan waits, hears the shower running, then goes to phone, dials number.
I need to speak to the captain. Right now, it's an emergency. I'm feeling fine. Thank you for asking. No, I don't have a fever. My breathing is fine. Look, I need to get back to my room. I'm in a lesbian's room by mistake. I mean, it doesn't even have a window, and she doesn't have an iPhone either. No, wait, don't hang up. This isn't a prank call. I am serious. Hello? Damn it.
Maureen exits bathroom wearing underwear and a loosely tied robe. Susan stares at her.
Glad you like what you see.
How could you pick this horrible cabin?
Well, Carol and I saved up last year. When she died, I didn't want to be in a room for two, so I changed my cabin to a single. This is the only one they had left. How did you rate a balcony? You're unemployed.
I'm sharing with 3 other friends. We bought the tickets before I lost my job.
Maureen takes off robe and starts to get dressed. Susan stares and then quickly looks away.
I wish you wouldn't do that.
Well, this is my room. You're my guest. You don't get to make the rules.
If we have to be in here together, we should make some rules. Rule number 1 is that we both get dressed in the bathroom.
Well, the bathroom is too small for both of us to get dressed in it. Look, Susie Q, we slept together. That's a fact. You've kissed me, touched my body everywhere, and drooled all over me last night. We had sex, kiddo. It's too late to get all shy and virginal on me now.
I don't drool.
I beg to differ.
Maybe I wasn't in my right mind. Maybe I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, I asked you several times last night if you were okay with this, and you said, yes, yes, yes. You enjoyed yourself.
And you?
Overwhelmingly, orgasmically speaking. Ooh, I don't know about you, but I am starving.
Oh, I have some peanuts in my jacket.
No, I ate both packs last night after you fell asleep.
You could have had room service.
Too late. They were closed.
Dining room.
I didn't want to leave you here. You might have gotten scared if you woke up alone.
That was very thoughtful of you.
Knock on door. Susan opens it. A tray with food is shoved into her arms. Audience sees white gloves and sleeves of crew member.
I noticed you both weren't at breakfast this morning.
Nothing gets by you men in uniform.
Door is slammed. Susan is stunned holding tray. She puts tray down on bed.
Ooh, thank God. Well, I am so hungry. I mean, look at this. Eggs, pancakes, bacon, fresh fruit, coffee, warm muffins. Life is good.
Will you be dressing for dinner or breakfast?
I like eating in my underwear. I could take them off if you prefer.
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Lighten up, Susan. If we have to stay here for a while, well, why not have breakfast with me?
Maybe a little while we wait.
Maureen haltingly and carefully puts her arm around Susan. Susan is comfortable and smiles.
We may be here for a while.
Do you think we'll have time for you to teach me to knit? Orgasmically speaking.
Blackout. End of play.
Well done to the actors, director. Lorraine, if you would like to join me for the Q&A, to our audience, if you have any questions for Lorraine for this Q&A, please post it in the Facebook live stream. We are more than happy to answer those questions. Lorraine, welcome.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, thank you. We loved your piece. Please tell us your inspiration for it. Q&A to our audience.
So my inspiration really came from...
Lorraine, go ahead and turn off the live stream on Facebook so there's not an echo of us asking.
There we go. Now I lost you.
No, I'm still here.
I don't know how to get back to you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I see you.
I can't see you, but
that's okay. Well, you can just listen to my voice. That is totally fine.
Okay, sounds
all
good.
Right. So yes, I would love to know the inspiration for the play.
So I live in the Bay Area, and I think probably all of you know that there was a princess cruise that originated in San Francisco, went to Mexico, came back to San Francisco, and then went to Hawaii. And on the way back, there was discovery that several of the passengers and several of the crew had COVID virus. So they stayed in the San Francisco Bay for a while. They thought they were going to embark in San Francisco, but ultimately, after a few days passed, they embarked in Oakland. And then the crew, not the crew so much, but the passengers were taken to Travis Air Force Base to quarantine for 14 days. So when I was reading about all of this happening, I thought to myself, gosh, it would really be interesting to write a play about this, because there's something so theatrical about a smaller space, a cabin, and that it would be a lot of fun to play with that idea of somehow two people being sheltered in place together who didn't know each other at all. So I started writing a play, and then as it turns out, I knew two of the people that were on that ship. So once they got past the quarantine, I was able to talk to them. And in fact, one of them had chronicled the experience that he had had. So it made the play a little bit richer to know what actually happened. So it was kind of based on an actual event. And I just thought it would be fun to play with it.
What an adventure. That is an incredible story. We have a question on our live stream. Bella Z asks, is this a standalone or will it be a longer piece? Great job.
Great question. Thank you. It actually started out as a full-length play, and it will be a full-length play. You can imagine over time what it would be like in that room as there continued to be quarantine. And then they would go on to be quarantined at Travis Air Force Base together as well. So it is going to be a full-length play, but I decided to play with, make a 10-minute play out of it, although it went longer than 10 minutes. But I decided to make a shorter play. I thought it would be fun to do. And while I'm speaking, I just want to do a shout out to the director and the actors who were terrific. So Thank you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, they were wonderful.
They were.
I'm very curious about the inspiration for the characters, specifically Susan. Maureen is very chill. She obviously has accepted her sexuality, but Susan obviously hasn't done this before, especially when it's evident that she keeps saying, I'm in a lesbian's room. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I originally started writing this play with a man and a woman, and then I thought it would be far more interesting to write about two women. Mm-hmm. And a woman who sort of not only had to struggle with being in a very small space with someone she didn't know well, but also to be struggling with her own identity. So it adds to the play to put that in. But I think more importantly is writing about women, and in this case, older women, that so often you don't see a lot of plays with older women as the protagonists, and I that's what I focus on mostly. I write about issues of older adults and particularly older women and their very rich and wonderful lives.
Yeah, because their lives are ever changing. Even still, it's not like our lives end after 30. Like they're still very interesting characters. I think it's amazing. And these two women are kind of brought together mourning different types of losses. One mourning the loss of a marriage and one mourning the loss of a dear loved one. Tell me a little bit about that.
The woman mourning the loss of her marriage, not really mourning it, kind of trying to less mourning it and more kind of wanting to figure out who the hell she is.
Mm.
And this comes from actually some articles that I read lately about people who celebrated their 50th anniversary and they get a divorce shortly afterwards, which is really odd, but it seems to be happening more and more, and amicably, not with arguing, but more deciding, 50 years is a long time. I might have time left. I want to go in another direction. And so that was kind of the inspiration for that character. The other one was the recognition that mourning is more, mourning, having a close relationship and losing that person is very painful. And this is her attempt, Maureen's attempt to try to get out there somehow instead of taking her knitting to a cafe, but going on a cruise that she had planned with her wife before her wife had died.
Yeah.
So they're both sort of seeking out maybe who they are or where they go from here.
Yeah. Well, we have some really great comments in the live stream. Anthony Clarveau says, it's great to see your play and your face. Bella Z says, yes, imagine older women in the world. Thank you. Brandon Constant says, well said, a terrific choice to focus on the lives and experiences of older women. Emily McLean says, the different perspectives of the ends of the long-standing relationships was really engaging and authentic. And Brandon agreed with her statement. I absolutely agree. Well, to wrap this up, I would love to hear your advice to artists, playwrights, directors, actors, how they can still be creative while sheltering in place.
Oh, I think there's a number of ways. I am become a big fan of Zoom for lots of reasons. But one of them is that as you write, you have an opportunity to invite friends, actors, playwrights to read along the way as you're writing. And it's pretty easy to do as opposed to having to plan a whole group of people coming together. It's easier to do this with Zoom. So continuing to write and getting feedback on your writing through Zoom. Doing it yourself. There are organizations that are doing it. The Playwright Center of San Francisco, I'm in the Bay Area, so that's one place to do it. There are just a number of ways to get your work read early on and get feedback for it. I also want to do a shout out, by the way, to Anthony Clairvaux, who gave a comment. He was my mentor. He is my mentor. I started taking classes at Stagebridge, which is this organization for older adults, and it provides classes in the arts. And Anthony Clairvaux was teaching there then. He's continuing to teach playwriting, and he's been an incredible inspiration to me. He's a phenomenal playwright, a phenomenal human being, and a terrific teacher.
Oh, well, that's a wonderful shout out. And one of the actors, Lisa, I believe, says, please tell Lorraine this older actor would love to see her other plays.
Oh.
So please tell us where we can find your work.
I'm on the New Play Exchange, and I also have a website, which is LorraineMidanik.com. Okay. And if you contact me and you want to see one of my plays, I'm happy to share.
We will absolutely look that up. Thank you so much for sharing this piece with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And audience, we will be back here in just about 4 minutes with our next play. We will see you then.